Welcome back to WagerTalk TV. We're going to break down for you NBA action. Guys, we got to tell you, we're taping on Wednesday. The trade deadline is Thursday. You're going to see a lot of teams moving around in the next 24 hours. We've already seen some movement. Ralph, we're going to break down the Clippers and the Celtics. Clippers will be heading to Boston. They're moving and shaking some people around. Tell us about the trade that happened this morning.
Well, Johnny, Detroit had sent out the teams, and this probably wouldn't have been a game we would be talking about because there's so many variables. But, you know, we're recording it, so let's talk about what we had. Prior to the trade, I would have made Boston about an 11-point favorite. Clippers were playing decent ball, but right now it looks like the Clippers are all in to try to trade for Davis. They traded their leading scorer, Harris, to Philadelphia, got back the number one from Wichita and a couple other number one draft choices. So they now have a luxury to move forward. Now, you know, with that being said, they're also playing a game at Indiana on Thursday. So we'll see how these new bodies mix and meld. The thing about that game on Thursday is if they are in potential trade talks, you may have more people sitting out Thursday. Anyone that's going to get traded, they don't want to get hurt. So then they would sit out as well. So we really don't know what we have with the Clippers. But to me, it's one of two things. The Clippers get a person they're looking for in a trade, or they're in trouble because they traded away some big talent this year. So let's look at Boston. Home favorite of 7 or more. Boston is 10-4 ATS. Boston at home, 29-10-1, a solid ATS team. These two have split the series each of the last 3 years. Now, I like what Boston's doing, but they're still a team that is gelling. Kyrie's sitting out a lot. They're making sure Kyrie is completely healthy before he comes back. So there's a bunch of guys that have been in and out. They've got so many talented people that I'm really surprised they're covering as much as they are as a home favorite with the talent that they're mixing in.
Yeah, well, they did it last year whenever Kyrie was out.
But those guys were out for the year, and they knew it, and the young talent played incredible defense getting to the finals against the Cavs.
Gave them that experience last year that you needed, and we saw that.
And confidence as well.
You saw that with the Spurs a couple of years ago when he was resting players, you know, all the time. It extended the bench. The bench got better, and then whenever they went from role players to have to actually perform, they're ahead of the game.
I mean, East all of a sudden now, I mean, the way Milwaukee's playing them, Philadelphia's better, and Boston, what they're going to do in Toronto, I mean, the last two rounds of the playoffs is going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Tony, you look at this one, you know, talking situational-wise, for the Clippers, they're in a bad spot, not only because of the trade stuff and the chaos that's going to create for them, but this is going to be their 5th road game of a 6-game road trip. You know how hard that is, you know, the longer the road trip goes. Do you give the Clippers any shot at going in here, or do you feel that the lines maker is going to take that edge away and make us pay way too much for the situation?
It's a great point. I think they're going to take – I did a chart, and before this video, we talked a little bit. They've moved Westgate here locally has moved the Clippers to 1,000-1 to win the NBA championship now as the 8 number.
I don't think they have to worry about anybody cash.
Funny thing was, they were an 8th seed, and they were only 2.5 games out of the 5th seed. So they were sitting okay. But again, in the West, if you're behind Houston and Golden State, what does okay mean? It means nothing. It means you may win a first round of playoffs, and not even, and that's it. So
they're 501 to win the West. They moved them 501 to win the West. Do they have a listen? The odds are making an adjustment here. This is a bad spot for the Clippers, without question. Harris is really the heartbeat of that team. He's not, as Ralph mentioned, they're probably going to make a move to get Anthony Davis. But moving Harris gives them it really frees up a lot of cap room and gives them 2 high NBA, all NBA caliber kind of players to try to compete with at Staples with the Lakers. This isn't the Clippers of old. This is a new look Clippers team, and they're trying to compete. However, I'm pretty much a seller on the Clippers moving forward, unless the line is significant. The handicap, I believe, is way off.
Depending how much they adjust this number because of what's going on with everything. One thing to be careful with on Boston is they do have the Lakers up next with LeBron back. You know that's always going to be a big game. So Boston could
2 days, though. They do have a day off. It's not back-to-back days.
Yeah, but you come in here with all, NBA teams, they sometimes just look past another team, especially, they traded their best player away. This is going to be easy now. We just have to show up. So be careful laying that big number with Boston in this one. Hey, guys, don't forget, every Monday at WagerTalk, it's $9 Monday. Every pick, doesn't matter if it's a 5% play that normally sells for $30, you get it for $9. Everybody, it's been very popular, and I know this particular Monday we had a lot of sales on games. We won't talk about one. We won't talk about one of those games.
We'll mention at some point.
Yeah, at some point. But the three-pointer that, the meaningless three. I love when people say, it's a meaningless three. It wasn't a meaningless three. We're talking about Iowa State game on Monday night, and the clock shot went off.
Yeah, of course, my 5% play, but it changed both side and total. So,
unbelievable, and we'll have to see moving forward if people were. I don't know if they're hitting you on Twitter that night, but they're hitting me. Can they go back and they change that score? And it's not going to happen.
No.
Not going to happen. All right, guys, that wraps this one up. We had to get a little shot in there for Ralph with that one, make him not feel as bad. And all you can do is joke whenever those meaningless threes go up at the end of the game. We'll be back with more here at WagerTalk.com.